Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to explore a fascinating piece of Belgian history, the 1991 Belgian 1 franc coin, featuring King Baudouin I. At first glance, this small coin may look ordinary. It is only a simple 1 franc denomination, made for everyday circulation. But when we look closer, this coin tells us a story about Belgium, its monarchy, its currency, its language, and the final years of the Belgian franc. The coin shown here is the 1991 Belgian 1 franc with the Dutch inscription, België. It belongs to the coinage issued during the reign of King Baudouin I. Catalog references identify this Dutch language version as KM number 171. The coin was struck at the Royal Mint of Belgium in Brussels. Numismatics +1. So, let's take a journey back to Belgium in 1991. Belgium in 1991. To understand this coin, we first need to understand the Belgium of its time. Belgium is a small country in Western Europe, but its history is remarkably complex. The country has several major linguistic communities, particularly Dutch-speaking Flemish communities and French-speaking Walloon communities, along with a smaller German-speaking community. Because of this linguistic diversity, Belgian coins have often appeared in different language versions. That is one of the interesting features of this 1991 1 franc coin. The coin shown in the photograph carries the word België, which is the Dutch name for Belgium. A French-language version of the same basic design carries Belgique. The two versions belong to the same 1989 to 1993 1 franc series. U-coin +1. This makes the coin more than just a denomination. It is also a small representation of Belgium's bilingual monetary tradition. The 1991 Belgian 1 franc. The denomination of this coin is 1 franc, or 1 BF. The Belgian franc had been the country's national currency since the 19th century and remained in use until Belgium adopted the euro. The 1991 1 franc coin belongs to a redesigned series that was introduced near the end of the Belgian franc era. According to numismatic references, this version was produced from 1989 through 1993, during the reign of King Baudouin I. It measures approximately 18 mm in diameter, has a thickness of about 1.7 mm, and weighs approximately 2.75 grams. Its composition is listed as nickel-plated steel, and it has a plain edge. Numismatics +1. These specifications made the coin lightweight and practical for everyday use. And that was exactly what a 1 franc coin needed to be. It was not designed as a precious metal collector coin. Instead, it was intended to move through Belgian society, from shops and markets to public transportation, vending machines, pockets, purses, and cash registers. The portrait of King Baudouin I. One of the most important features of the series is the portrait of King Baudouin I. Baudouin was king of the Belgians for several decades and became one of the most recognizable monarchs in modern Belgian history. On the other side of the coin, his portrait appears in left-facing profile, accompanied by the inscription, Baudouin I. This is the Dutch language form of his name. The design was created by the Belgian artist and engraver Harry Elstrom. Numismatics. Putting the monarch on circulating coins was a long-standing European tradition. For ordinary people, coins could be one of the most common ways to see the image of their king. A person might never meet the monarch, but they could hold his portrait in their hand every day. That makes coins powerful historical objects. The portrait on this small 1 franc piece therefore represents more than a person. It represents the Belgian monarchy during the final decade of the 20th century. The crown and three-pointed star. Now let's look at the side shown clearly in the photograph. The design is immediately recognizable. At the center is a large three-pointed star, dividing the date. Above it is a crown, while the denomination and country name are incorporated into the surrounding design. The inscription includes 1F and België, with the year 1991 divided into 19 and 91. Numismatic references specifically describe this reverse as having a three-pointed star dividing the year, together with the crown, denomination and Dutch language country name. Numismatics. The crown is especially appropriate for a Belgian coin issued during the reign of a king. It immediately connects the coin with the country's constitutional monarchy. The design is also very clean. Instead of filling every available space with text, the engraver used strong geometric lines and open areas to create a modern appearance. This was very different from many 19th-century European coins, which often featured elaborate coats of arms, large portraits, wreaths, and extensive inscriptions. The 1991 design feels distinctly late 20th century. The meaning of België. For collectors, one of the most interesting details is the word België. This is the Dutch language name for Belgium. The French language counterpart is Belgique. Both versions were part of Belgian circulation coinage. The 1991 Dutch language coin is catalogued as KM number 171, while the French language version is KM number 170. U-coin +1. For a coin collector, this creates an interesting opportunity. Two coins may have the same denomination, same year, same monarch, and nearly identical design, but one says België while the other says Belgique. That small difference reflects a much larger aspect of Belgian society. It demonstrates how national identity and language can appear directly on everyday money. How many were made? Now we come to one of the most important questions for collectors. Was the 1991 Belgian 1 franc rare? The answer is interesting. Sources list a mintage of approximately 200,060,000 pieces for the 1991 issue. That is a very large production figure. Numista +1. With more than 200 million examples produced, the standard 1991 coin is not considered a major rarity simply because of its date. This is an important lesson for new collectors. A coin being old does not automatically make it rare. This coin is now more than 3 decades old, but millions of examples were produced. As a result, ordinary circulated specimens generally have modest collector value. However, condition can make a significant difference. A heavily worn coin found in circulation is a very different collectible from an attractive example with sharp details, strong surfaces, and original mint luster. Collectors therefore examine condition carefully. The end of the Belgian franc. Perhaps the most fascinating part of this coin's history is what happened after 1991. The Belgian franc continued to circulate for another decade. Belgium eventually became part of the euro currency system, and euro banknotes and coins were introduced for everyday cash use in 2002. The Belgian franc was officially withdrawn from circulation, and the old currency disappeared from everyday Belgian life. Numismatic references give February 28, 2002 as the demonetization date for this 1 franc type. Numista. Imagine someone holding this exact type of coin in 1991. At that time, it was normal money. Nobody needed to think about it as an antique. Someone could spend it without giving it a second thought. But today, that same little piece of metal has become a historical object. It represents a monetary system that no longer exists. The value of a 1991 Belgian 1 franc today. So, what is this coin worth today? This is where collectors need to be careful. The standard 1991 Belgian 1 franc is generally a common collectible coin, largely because of its enormous mintage. Online catalog references show relatively low guide values for ordinary circulated examples, while higher-grade pieces can command more. Numista's published figures are based on collector evaluations and realized sales and should be treated only as general indications rather than guaranteed market prices. Numista. The exact value of an individual coin depends on several factors. These include condition, surface quality, original mint appearance, scratches and damage, signs of cleaning, rarity of a particular variety, collector demand, whether it is part of a complete year or type collection. A coin in heavily worn condition may be worth very little financially. But that does not mean it has no historical value. For many collectors, the story is more important than the price.